Hey there, and welcome to Module 1, which is actually Session 2 of Overview of PCBE. PCBE stands for Personalized Competency-Based Education, and PCBL is Personalized Competency-Based Learning. They're interchangeable. So the first thing that we're going to be covering in this module is the why behind personalized learning, and then also the why behind competency-based learning. So people can speak about each of those items separately. They don't necessarily have to be combined into personalized and competency-based at the same time. But for our purposes, what I have seen in the classroom and what I'm seeing in documentation and research is that when you do competency-based learning, it is the beginning of personalization. So if we want to kind of get ahead of the 8-ball on this, we're going to be combining everything together. We're also going to be covering myths that we need to address, so that this is usually the pushback that we get from teachers. So the people in this course most likely are going to be leaders in their school. So it's going to be important for your own mindset that you address myths that are out there and maybe some misconceptions that you might have, because these are also going to be misconceptions that other teachers are going to have. So I always like to address myths because of the pushback factor. Okay, we're also going to be covering terminology that we all need to understand, because sometimes people are throwing terms out there and they're not actually using them correctly. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we all have the same lexicon. So we'll definitely be covering some terminology as we go. And then once we have covered the why and the myths, we're going to start digging in, and we're going to start looking at personalized learning from the 30,000-foot view. I like to do global first and then get into the details. So that's what we're going to do first, is so that you can see the big picture, and then in modules that follow, we will be getting into the nitty-gritty. So of course, once we've done that for personalized learning, we're going to need to do the 30,000-foot view for competency-based learning as well. In this module, we're also going to be looking at some systems that are already in place. They have a lot of similarities, but of course they each have to be unique. This could be for marketing purposes, I'm just going to be honest. It could also be for some systems that are further along than other systems, and that they start in the same place, but that through iteration, they are learning that something's missing. And so they start to layer on different items so that they are improving the system that they started with. So it's not going to be just for marketing, right? But what we all need to understand is that these systems are developing by teachers through teachers. So it's not the type of situation where it's coming out of Harvard or MIT and it's a bunch of lab coats that are dealing with professors' children, right, in a sterile environment. These are, what I'm going to be sharing with you are systems that have been tried out in some of the toughest school systems like Los Angeles, Chicago, Philadelphia. These are some tough school systems. So a lot of what we're going to be looking at has already been tested by fire. So that's the good news. And so when we look at them, what we're going to be looking for is common threads that run through the different systems. And then how are they different? Because how they are different could be the bell that rings for you when you try it in your classroom and you've been doing it for a little while and maybe you're not getting momentum, and then you go, you know what? Something's missing. I need something more. And when we look at these different systems and the similarities and differences, I think what we're going to see is that their populations needed something different, and so that's what was layered on. So, and of course, you are welcome to your own opinion, and you might clearly, we're different, so you'll see things that I don't see, and that's a positive thing. All right, so we'll also be covering all of the activities that we will need to be doing throughout the module. Some of the independent activities you're going to be doing include watching videos and then comparing them. So after each activity, I'm going to have you do something active. So you might reply in the comments section, or you might do a Google Classroom discussion question where other people can respond to you. It threads nicely. You might be asked to complete a slide in a stack of slides. So what I'd like to do is have small bite-sized activities for you to complete after each video or each article to encourage the processing process. That wasn't the best wording, but encouraging you to process the information. Okay? All right, so we've got some original answers that you might have to do. We would like you to respond thoughtfully to one another's answers. For authentic learning, you want to know that somebody is reading your stuff and not just the teacher, right? We will have some self-assessment surveys worked in, and this is all a part of the learner profile. And that is for me to get to know you, but it's also for you to get to know you, because sometimes we learn things about ourselves that we didn't know. And then also in this module, I'm going to have you spending some time personalizing your Google Site portfolio. So that might be, if you are really creative, you might spend 20 to 30 minutes because you're really enjoying yourself playing around, changing colors, adding information. And if you're not creative in that way, you just might want to pick a theme and then just start putting information on your portfolio. So that's just a quick overview of what you should be expecting from this module.